Hi, I'm Matthew Calhoun. This is Kevin Reeves. That's Faith Noster, and this is Chelsea Mansker. And we're Bias Facts. and what we are is we're a YouTube channel here at Blinn College through Blinn Theater, and we're trying to promote the theater club and the arts here around Bryan College Station area. And we've got a couple people to thank. Village Cafe, which is where we're at right now. They are very helpful, and they were very open with us. And as you can see, all the drinks here were bought at Village Cafe, and they're really awesome. And we just want to give a big shout out to them. Also, one of our sponsors, Mr. Weaver at Blinn College. He's an awesome guy. He's supported us. Gene Daniels and Greg Wise, which is our theater club sponsors. They have helped us so much this year, and we just want to give a big shout out to them. Also, we'd like to give a big shout out to Screen Junkies and for their inspiration. The reason that we get to do this is because they inspired us, and we just want to give full credit to them. Also, we're going to do it set up a lot like movie fights. We are going to debate about stuff. This first video is going to be about movies, but the next one is going to be about books, and then music, and then video games, and just all sorts of stuff. So please leave a comment and like us and share us, and just tell us what you'd like to talk about or what you'd like us to debate about. And we're going to use this YouTube channel to hopefully maybe launch some careers and make some short videos and short films, and hopefully just help Bryan College Station area and Blinn College. And with that, it's a face show. So.
Okay, so for round one, the first question is, what is your most anticipated movie of the 2015 year? And we are going to start off with Chelsea.
Okay, my most anticipated movie of 2015 is The Revenant. It is a 20th Century Fox film. It is going to be starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, Will Poulter from We're the Millers and The Maze Runner, and John Paul Gleason, who played Bill Weasley in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, and he's going to be in Star Wars The Force Awakens. It's going to be directed by Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu, who also directed Birdman, which won Best Picture at the Oscars this year. It has cinematography by Emmanuel Lubezki, who has won Oscars the past 2 years in a row for Gravity and Birdman. It is set to release on Christmas, and it follows the story of a fur trapper, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who is mauled by a bear and left for dead by his partners, and he survives, and he seeks to exact revenge on these guys. I'm really excited for it because it's directed by Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu with cinematography by Emmanuel Lubezki. They teamed up on Birdman. Birdman was an excellent film, so it's going to be another artistic masterpiece, basically. And based around the success of Birdman, I think this is going to be another really successful film, and I'm very, very excited for it. And it's based on the novel by Michael Punk, so I might be reading that, I might not, depends on whether or not I want to be surprised.
Okay, so I don't know about Matt, but I've never even heard of this film. So.
Yeah, I've never heard of this film, so a good one.
I do my research. I get online and I look at what movies are coming out, and I look at castmates and members and who's on what, and I'm really excited.
Okay.
Kev, you're up.
I'm up. All right, my most anticipated movie is Star Wars number 7. All right, so I have several reasons. And probably like my biggest and most important is like the original cast is coming back. Like Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill. Like we're getting the old school Star Wars back. I mean, to me, I'm incredibly excited for this. All right, and not only that, the new cast, like Lupita Nyong'o. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing her name right, but like she won an Oscar, and I forget the name of the freaking movie. Regardless, she's a great actor. Another thing, the Muppets are back. I think that's amazing. Like, we get out of the CGI, and I think that's important because, like, it was cool seeing Yoda, like, jump around being crazy, but it brings us back to, like, they're a flesh and blood creature, and it makes it, in my opinion, a lot more realistic, and it just brings us back to, like, the original Star Wars. Another thing, J.J. Abrams. He completely resurrected Star Trek, can't even talk, and there was a quote that he wanted to make this the most emotional and authentic as possible, and I think we lost that from episodes 1 through 3, and I'm really excited to see what he's going to do with this. And another point that I have is, let's look at Disney's track record here. All right, Disney has a hands-off approach from what they've been doing, and I mean, there really isn't much to say. Disney has done great for, like, specifically the past few years, but I mean, of all time. All right, and my last point is this is Lucas's story with a fresh perspective. Now, George Lucas isn't going to be directing this, but it's still his original storyline. So, I don't know. I'm really excited for it. I'm a big Star Wars nerd, and there was a lot of doubts with it going to Disney, but honestly, I don't think there should be reason to doubt this movie. In my opinion, it's going to be amazing. It's the most anticipated movie for me.
Mine is hands down Avengers 2. You've got Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Robert Downey Jr., Jeremy Renner. You've got Scarlett Johansson. I mean, you've got all the big name players. Whenever we look back, I think this will be my generation and the generation probably younger than me, our Star Wars franchise, where this is the one that we just all hopped on from Iron Man 1. And I think this movie, the budget was $71 million. That is a crazy amount of money. And like, I think it's going to surpass Avatar as the highest grossing movie of all time. I think it's going to blow it out of the water. Joss Whedon is pulling out all the stops for this one. This is his favorite villain. And I think the one thing that we've been missing, other than Loki, is a favorite villain that we can just love to hate. And I think that's what Ultron's going to be. And we're adding so many people to the roster. There's going to be so many hints to future characters and stuff like that. And I think the chemistry, Joss Whedon has already proved himself with Avengers 1. And the Marvel track record has never had anything as horrible as the first 3 Star Wars. Or, and they are known. So, I mean, and the director of Birdman, although Birdman was a great film, and I think that director has a lot of good work ahead of him, I still think that at the end of the day, Joss Whedon's going to pull it out over that. And I think it will not only be the funner movie, but also the darker movie to watch. And it's just going to really make things very interesting for the MCU and what's coming up.
All right, hold on. But you talked about...
I have something to say as well.
Okay, hold on. You think that this is going to be the Star Wars of our generation. Well, Star Wars has been going on for years and years and years.
That's true.
Like, this Star Wars is a film that has been going on, like, from our parents, like, growing up watching it, and they're, like, completely amazed. And for us to grow up with, obviously not the same films, but similar films, I have to disagree. I think Star Wars is
Star Wars is classic, and that's awesome.
Classic.
But like, whenever you talk about new things and new ideas that have come up, I think the MCU has just knocked it out of the park every time that they've been. I mean, Iron Man 2 was so. We all know that. But
I would just like to defend myself and say that I know Avengers 2 is coming out. I know another Star Wars movie is coming out. I go into the woodwork and I look for things that people don't know about. That's who I am. I love indie music. I love indie films. I love indie everything. And I'm not saying I'm a hipster and I'm better, but like, I just like to look into things that people don't know about. And I can be like, hey, look at this. This is coming out. And I think you should know about it because it's freaking awesome. And I would just like to defend myself because I was attacked and I did not know I would be. So, yeah.
No, I think honestly, though, that director has a lot of good work ahead of him.
Most definitely. I love Birdman.
Birdman was awesome.
Leonardo DiCaprio. You can't go wrong there.
No, you can't. You honestly can't.
But
just, let's not.
I think Avenger 2. I think this is the one where Joss Whedon just pulls out all the stops, and he really just tears up. I mean, even in the commercial, you see Captain America's shield wrecked, and as much as like we want to get hyped for Star Wars 7, we got hyped for Star Wars the prequels, and they had an awesome cast with what's his name from Schindler's List, and the guy that played Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it is just we've been built up before, and it's been kind of a letdown, so it's kind of a say. And then although Birdman was a great film, he's only got I think 2 films in his belt. So
so I've come to my decision, and I think just on facts alone, Chelsea.
Oh, okay. That's fair. That's fair. Chelsea definitely had a lot more information.
Yeah, I think she had a lot more information, and I think there's a difference between something that is going to be something that people are excited to see, and then a difference between a good quality of a movie. And I'm not saying that Avengers or Star Wars isn't going to be a good quality, but she has facts behind hers of why. Y'all had more like opinion, and y'all are speaking for a whole generation, and I think we can't really speak for a whole generation.
I can speak for a whole generation.
I can make general blankets.
Your most anticipated film, and that is mine. Like, I'm not going to say I'm like everybody else.
Chelsea wins.
All right.
We have what superhero needs a movie, and we'll start with Chelsea.
Okay. My answer for which superhero needs a movie is none other than Namor the Submariner, alias Namor Mackenzie, Imperious Rex. If I had to fan cast him,
Aquaman?
I would.
sorry, what?
I'm sorry, Aquaman came out 30 years after Namor, so there you go. Would you like to back me up on that, Brayden, since you're the fact checker? That's true. Thank you.
Who is Namor?
Anyway, as I was saying,
I don't.
Namor is a ruler of Atlantis. He's half Atlantean and half human, since you asked. His powers include amphibious physiology, superhuman strength, speed, agility, durability, flight, and longevity. His wings on his ankles, and he can swim at any, like a superhuman speed. Anyway, I would fan cast him. I would use Tom O'Pennicott. He's Canadian. He played Gadriel in Supernatural. He was Emerson in Man of Steel. He's been on Castle, Haven, Arrow, Criminal Minds. He was in Battlestar Galactica. I think he would be perfect for the role. But with the right makeup, I mean, anybody, could play Namor, because you have to have that makeup. But anyway, he's born in 1920. He's the first known comic book anti-hero, and he's referred to as Marvel's first mutant because he was their first mutant in print. There were other mutants in existence before Namor, but he was the first one in print. I think that he needs a movie because introducing him into the MCU not only opens up the opportunity to expand and introduce organizations. He has served in the Avengers, Fantastic Four, Invaders, Defenders, X-Men, and Illuminati. It also gives the opportunity to introduce new villains, such as Atuma, the leader of the Atlantean barbarians, Vera, who lost the throne to Namor, Captain Barracuda, Doctor Doom, Tiger Shark, Tyrak, the Warlord Krang. I mean, it just gives a whole new realm of the Marvel Universe that we haven't explored yet, which is the seas, which is underwater. And I think that with a Fantastic Four movie coming out, it's a great time to introduce Namor, because in one of his backstories, the Human Torch goes and finds Namor in a bar. Namor doesn't remember who he is. He takes Namor, dumps him in the ocean, and then Namor's like, oh, I remember now. My kingdom has been destroyed by humans. I'm going to kill everybody. So, I mean, I think that Namor deserves a movie and that he's very underrated, and that's my answer.
I'm up. All right. Teen Titans.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm saying like the Teen Titans based off the animated film several years ago in the 2000s. And I have a few reasons. My number one is because like for me and in my generation, like this was my childhood. I loved watching the Teen Titans. I would go home, watch the Teen Titans. There's always a different villain. There's always a dynamic storyline going in progress. And along with that, there's a dynamic story and also dynamic characters. Everything from Robin and Starfire, that little love story, to like Beast Boy's comedic relief and immaturity, to Cyborg, who's like the underlying question of like, what does it mean to be human? I mean, like half robot, half man. It's a lot deeper. And with Raven, like complete family issues. I mean, if you want to call it that, like her dad is pretty much like the king of like essentially hell. And so why the Teen Titans? I think it'd be a pretty successful franchise. I was thinking like 2 movies would be pretty awesome. Like the first one, it would definitely have the Teen Titans as like younger characters like the animated show. And the second movie, have them like grow up and have characters like Nightwing. I think that'd be awesome. Everyone loves Nightwing. He's super cool. Kind of a douche. What? And also another thing with Teen Titans, like I said earlier, there's tons of villains. Like if you go back to the original show, there's always bad guys to fight. There's always things to do. And so like the movie itself can go in so many different directions. And I don't think there's like it couldn't possibly be bad to me. It would definitely revive the Teen Titans. Like with the Teen Titans Go show we have now, I feel like kids are growing up like they don't really know what it is. And I think a good Teen Titans movie would be great, in my opinion.
My pick is Martian Manhunter. This guy is before the New 52, was one of the leaders of the Justice League. He's a Martian that was from Mars, and
he's a manhunter.
Well, no, he's not really a manhunter. And but
Stop.
he comes to Earth and he tries to assimilate into our culture and what we do. And he has flight, telepathic powers. He can shapeshift. He is super strong. He can go through walls. He's one of the very powerful characters. He's actually one of the guys that keeps Superman in check, and he's also just one of the most powerful telepathic characters that we have. And I think that will really translate. Also, I think we can do this really interesting character study with him trying to assimilate in our culture. And although Namor does have a lot of history and stuff like that, so does Martian Manhunter, and so does Teen Titans. And I think that you can really do this interesting piece with with this character that doesn't know exactly how he fits into the world and how he's supposed to be. Namor has his kingdom and stuff like that, but Martian Manhunter, John Jones, is alone. He has no one. He fights, and I even made a tagline, and it says, "Why fight when you have no one to fight for?" So and we can make this huge, or not even. We don't even have to exactly have a huge origin story. We just have to see him come into this world that he doesn't know, and eventually John Jones does become a cop, and so we can also mix in a little bit of noir and just throw in some different aspects and different elements of this character and how it is. And him, I think it would be a hilarious piece for him trying to learn how to be a human and him trying to fit in with our culture and this juggling. I think his act of juggling between being a superhero, a Martian, and a human being is a real big struggle for him. And I think that whenever he's by himself, what does he get his hope from? And that would be amazing to see on screen.
Just out of curiosity, do you have anybody, ideas of who would play
I had
Martian
Joel
Manhunter?
Edgerton to play him. I think he would be a really good pick.
I'm having a hard time because I want to get behind this.
I think he would be a really good pick for him. Also, I think even maybe if he bolts up Joseph Gordon-Levitt to even play him, I think he would be okay. We could, and we wouldn't even have to have anybody from the Justice League. We can do it without the Justice League or with the Justice League. It really doesn't matter. And I think it would just be an awesome character piece to study and just to see and to focus on.
That's a damn good argument.
Okay, so I am choosing Kevin for Teen Titans. I really liked his argument, and I think the fact that we
I want a point.
I think the fact that we already have a Teen Titans, and even though it's very different, I think we could get.
There's a show coming on TNT.
Yes, I think we could get kids behind it. I like the idea of the two movies where it starts with them as teenagers and then have them as grown-ups in another one, because I think I don't know. I just think it
would
goes
also
for everyone.
I know there's a Justice League movie currently in production. Am I correct? That would also lead into it.
Martian Manhunter won't be in it.
Exactly.
Cyborg will be.
Which is why, if you start with a Teen Titans from childhood, a young Teen Titans, I think it would definitely. I think. It'd be
there's already TV shows and everything like that. So, you won.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. What actor or actress had the best year of 2014? And we're gonna start with Matt.
Oh, sorry, me. Do I even have my notes for this one? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think the actor that had the best year was Michael Keaton in Birdman. He should have won that Oscar. Eddie, as much as I love Eddie Redmayne. Redmayne.
There
Sorry.
you go.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
But he's a great actor, and The Theory of Everything was a great movie. But I think they seriously overlooked that Michael Keaton played 3 different characters. Not only was he playing Birdman, playing himself, but he's also playing the stage actor that you kind of have to relate to. And I think that he, based on his performance in that movie, although Michael Keaton has given us great performances before, such as in Batman and stuff like that, he has been kind of gone for a little while. And I think this was his return to cinema. Whenever they asked him, are you worried about other people playing Batman? He said, no, I am the Batman. And so, that Michael Keaton would have that confidence and he could step into this role and play, all this different confused person. I think this was such a groundbreaking year for him because not only did that movie just compare to his life so much, but he was able to push through that role and just break some really boundaries, and it brought him right back into the spotlight. And he had one heck of a movie, and is only going to launch his career more and more. He's just been really picky about what he's done, and that's the best thing about Michael Keaton.
That's a good argument. This is good stuff. Are you next or am I next?
Kevin's next.
I'm next. Oh God, I don't even know who to choose from. Let's go with Matthew McConaughey from Interstellar. All right. Well, he did win Best Actor from at the Oscars.
2013.
What?
In 2013.
Okay, in 2013. Yes, but regardless, he's an Oscar winner.
That's true.
On Time magazine, they quoted him as one of the most influential men alive. His role in True Detective was like pretty amazing. I think he won an award for that. I'm honestly not sure.
He did.
The Critics' Choice Award.
The Critics' Choice Award. I knew. And a quote from, I believe, the Time magazine was, he remains himself while getting older. Like, obviously, Matthew McConaughey isn't a young guy anymore, but he still remains true to himself. And I thought he did an amazing. I thought he had an amazing year, especially with Interstellar. And Interstellar to me was a completely different role than what we see from Matthew McConaughey from like his kind of cheesy chick flicks. I'm gonna call him that. I love Matthew McConaughey, but I mean like his kind of romancy roles. It was just a little bit different, and I loved it. I loved seeing the dynamic change that I saw from Interstellar and Matthew McConaughey.
I would say, like, although I love seeing him in that film, I actually liked seeing him more in Dallas Buyers Club, which was more of an indie type film. That's what he won the Oscar for, and
That's true.
and like he plays just a totally different character than we've ever seen him in. But yeah, you're up.
I think that the actor that had the best year in 2014 was Chris Pratt, hands down. He started the year with Parks and Recreation. He played Andy Dwyer, I think that was what he was best known for. Then he starred as Emmett Brakowski in the Lego Movie, it grossed $468.8 million. It was the fifth highest in North America. He then starred as Peter Quill, or Star-Lord, in Guardians of the Galaxy, which was the third highest grossing film of 2014 with $772.8 million, which was the highest grossing in North America. He hosted SNL with musical guest Ariana Grande. He was ranked number 2 on People's Sexiest Men Alive list. It's an important list to me.
I guess.
Yeah, that's important.
He signed on to play Owen Grady in Jurassic World, coming out this year on June 12th. See that at your local Cinemark. I work at Cinemark.
I used to work there.
He was the highest grossing
unemployed.
actor of 2014. According to Forbes, he earned $1.2 billion in 1 year. This is a man who came from being homeless, living in Hawaii in a van, listening to Forgot About Dre. Now he's earning over $1 billion in 2014. I think,
And married to Anna Faris.
and married to Anna Faris. She's beautiful. They have a son. I mean, come on. Like, he had a great year, and he's got the Guardians of the Galaxy sequel in the works, and he's got a Lego Movie sequel in the works, both of which are set to be released in 2017. So I think Chris Pratt is taking over in the best way, and he had the best year.
I like Chris Pratt. I think Chris Pratt is a great guy. I think he's a great actor. I love him in Parks and Rec. I think he's one of my favorite characters on that show. But the thing about Chris Pratt is I kind of see him a lot like Will Smith. Like Will Smith did like a comedy type show, and then he got really big. And I think that's where Chris Pratt is right now. I think this was his starting year, and I think next year is whenever he's really gonna. I think in Jurassic World he's really gonna just open up as this guy that we know him as. But I would have to say that if you think about the films that he's been in, yes, he started a franchise with Guardians of the Galaxy, and that was a great movie. But Michael Keaton, I mean, this is one of those films like where you will look to in film school and you will say, that's how you're supposed to act, that's how you're supposed to shoot a movie, that's how you get your main character to do this, and this is how as an actor is how you're supposed to act, and how he made this huge comeback in such a small movie that didn't, if you think about it, like, although the movie does borrow from The Godfather and stuff like that, with its shots and the way that it's set up, it really was just a Michael Keaton show. Although he is supported by a great supporting cast, he steals the show, and it's obvious. He was their first choice for that role, and he said, "Give it to me and let me see what I can do with it." And he just blew it out of the park. And it'll be a timeless performance that we will still remember. I think it'll age better than Guardians of the Galaxy.
And like Will Smith, Chris Pratt is going to have a timeless career that you can look at him and say, look at what he came from, and I am an actor, and like I can look at him and say, if he can do this, maybe I can do this. Like, it's something you can take inspiration from. He used to be just like us, and actually probably a little worse off, and like he did all of this, and now he has so much, and I think that's amazing. And Chris
But
Pratt
to be
is
fair,
a really big
like
inspiration.
your main argument was about like how much money he's made. Like that doesn't necessarily like
Transformers made like over 100, almost 100.
That doesn't necessarily mean he's the best actor in 2014 just because he's made a bunch of money.
I'm sorry, it said which actor had the best year in 2014. And
Okay,
in this
yes.
society, money is all that matters. I hate it, but that's how we live. And he had the best year. He made over $1 billion. I'm sorry, maybe I read the question wrong.
But,
I mean, that's semantics, though. If you're talking about money or you're talking about
like
who had
the
best
artistic,
performance.
yeah, like in an artistic view, money is kind of irrelevant. But I mean, like, I agree.
Sure, I had Jake
no.
Gyllenhaal as a backup for artistically successful. I didn't think that'd win me the round.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Like, money is definitely important in our society today, but it's obviously our judge's decision. But in my personal view, like, I don't think money should dictate who had the best year
I
of
respect
2014.
Okay, so I think I'm just gonna end it.
I'm gonna stop this right now.
This is a really hard one for me, but because of the way that the question was phrased, what actor had the best year? I think Michael Keaton had an amazing year, and he definitely had the most quality of what it came from. But I think as the question says, who had the best year? It would be Chris Pratt. He did amazing things throughout almost every aspect. Yes, it wasn't the best in every film, and he didn't, get nominated for an Oscar, but he broke a lot of. I mean, he did. What?
Nothing.
He wasn't not. Was he nominated for an Oscar? I'm sorry.
No, he
Chris
wasn't.
Pratt, no. Guardians of the Galaxy was nominated for makeup.
That's what I said.
but-
Anyway,
The makeup was, or the artistry was for
but
Guardians
he
of the
wasn't
Galaxy.
nominated. That was
Correct.
what I was just saying.
No,
Anyways,
yeah, you're right.
So I'm just saying that from this, I think overall in movies and in TV, he had a well year. In acting and in money, he had a very good year. So that's my decision.
Thank you.
We have what was the worst movie of 2014, and we will start with Matt.
My movie is Divergent. That movie was god awful. It's
pretty bad.
It was. I mean, books are they're good. They're really good. And but the thing about it is like it's another dystopian teen tween drama thing. And I think The Hunger Games is way better than it. I think they did it better. Katniss is a way stronger character than whatever her name was. Trish. Yeah, I can't even remember because.
Trish.
I literally have tried to
Trish.
watch that movie 3 times. I still cannot watch it and make it all the way through. And it made an okay amount of money. There's going to be 2 sequels, but also I don't think that makes it a good movie. Transformers has had 4 movies now, so but I think the plot is bland. It's in the movie it's bland. It has some cool sequences of maybe some running shots and stuff like that. But even Trish herself is concerned not only with this faction, but also with loving this guy, and it's not even like as downplayed as it is in the Hunger Games. Like, it's,
Have you seen 4?
I mean, it's just like Mockingijay's. I think it's even better. I think Mockingjay is better than Divergent, and I think even the direction that it went with, it was just shoddy. It was even shoddy camera work. I just did not like it. And there's like even my brother who read the Divergent series, who's 13 years old, said this movie is crap. I'm done with it, and walked upstairs and turned on his PlayStation 4. So I don't even think it translates that well to a young audience.
Interesting.
All right, Chelsea.
Oh, okay, I'm next. I would like to say a disclaimer before I get started. If a movie looks crappy, I don't watch it.
That's pretty nice.
No, that's true, though.
And
That
I
is
didn't
true.
want to pick something that I haven't seen because maybe I'll like it. I tend to like things that everybody else hates. So, with that being said, my worst movie that I saw of 2014 was The Maze Runner, directed by Wes Ball, starring Dylan O'Brien, Thomas Brody Sangster, Will Poulter, Kayla Scodelario, and Ki Hong Lee, who's very good looking. Anyway, it was based on the book by James Dashner, which I read before I saw the movie, and that's why I didn't like it. It wasn't necessarily the worst movie of the whole year. It was just the worst movie that I saw because, the casting was A+. It was good casting. The screenplay was just absolute crap. Like, they didn't stick with the book as well as they could have. It was very rushed and almost disjointed. They didn't take time to develop certain character relationships that were imperative to the plot. The book is always better than the movie, but in this case, it was just extreme, and it was okay. I was just really disappointed. I was like, wow, I really thought that you guys were going to do a better job than you did. I hate to say this, but Twilight did a better job of sticking to the book than you guys. And come on, like, you have to do better than that.
Maze Runner was a better movie than
I
Twilight.
just,
I would much rather watch Maze Runner than Twilight.
Wow, okay, that's a different video for a different day.
I haven't seen either, so.
Moving on, that was my worst movie of 2014, The Maze Runner. Meh.
Meow.
All
All
right.
you, Kev.
I'm probably gonna go on like a little rant, but if I stay, I thought that was terrible. I'm just telling y'all right now. All right. My first point is that it's over narrated and under dramatized. Second, it's a dual love affair between a girl and a guy that's pretty shallow in the first place. Another thing, New York or Portland, like the girl is trying to decide like, ooh, do I want to go to New York and follow my dreams or follow this young rock star to Portland where apparently he got like an agent to sign him, something like that. In my opinion, that's a terrible message. Like, live your dreams. Live your dreams. If someone's like, oh, come with me to Portland. I'm a freaking rock star. I'm 17, whatever the heck, how old he was. No, live your dreams. If you got into like NYU, you go to NYU. You don't like, oh, but I really love this guy. No, you're young. You're like 16. I don't know how old she is, but like,
Listen to your parents.
It's a terrible message. It's a terrible message. Follow your heart. All right, and another one is like, to me, it was like she was basically going back and forth from like suicide. She was like, I don't know if I want to live anymore. I'm like, girl, like, stop. Like, you have a fine life. You have a guy that cares about you. Like, it was just strange. Like, she didn't know if she wanted to live anymore or die, and it was just a strange movie, and I think they, like, had sex in a barn or in a boathouse, something like. It was just a strange movie. Like, I was watching it and I'm like, this is absolutely terrible. It's terrible.
We're not laughing at you. We're laughing at something on my paper. But no, I
don't care. It has problems.
I have it all in my head. The thing about Divergent is, If I Stay was a love story, and you kind of knew that going in, so you kind of knew what you were going to expect.
But was it a love story? Was it a love story? It was like a story between like, do I want to live or not? That's what it was. That was the entire story.
Out of
Everything
curiosity,
else.
did you read the book?
No.
Okay.
You can base a movie without reading the book.
The book's always better than the movie.
I did hear the book. I did hear the book was better. But
I mean, Harry Potter could maybe challenge that.
The movie started, if I remember correctly, the movie started in.
The book's always better.
The movie started like in media res, like it started in the middle of things, if I remember correctly. I haven't seen it in a while. I hated it. I don't remember. Regardless, she was in the hospital, and like you just saw like little flashbacks and bits and pieces, and I completely hated it. And I think Faith really liked it, so she's not going to give me a point.
I'm pretty sure she did like it.
Honestly, your looks were scaring me. Like your mouth was twitching, and I was like,
I did
does
like
Faith have any weapons present? Like, can you just...
I thought it was terrible.
If I Stay, the book is way better. It does way more for the character.
But we're talking about movies, not books.
Yes, and to agree, yes.
Like,
but that's the problem. Is like that. This could have been. It could have been different than the Hunger Games. It could have made a different statement, but it didn't. It just tried to kind of copy and paste a little bit, and maybe make Trish look kind of like a female character, but she doesn't really look like a lead female character. She's kind of bland.
She's kind of weak.
When did the Hunger Games books come out, and when did the Divergent books come out?
Yes, you can check that. But
I'm just curious because I mean. I would actually agree with you a little bit. I didn't think Divergent was a crap movie, but I did read the book, and I was like, I came out of it like, that was okay. I mean, with today's technology, I feel like you could have done a lot better, but that was all right.
And
there's so much Ellie Goulding. Good God! Like, can you get someone else on your soundtrack? Oh! I mean, I love Ellie Goulding, but
she's blowing up real fast.
Every like 20 minutes in that movie, I was like.
Also, but the Maze Runner did have some cool scenes. I think Dylan O'Brien he wasn't a one-dimensional character in that movie.
No,
he actually did have different phases of himself, and I think the way that they wrote Trish made her seem more of a bland, one-dimensional character than they did Dylan O'Brien. And I think
they wrote Thomas well, but they didn't. I mean, I don't want to do spoilers. I don't like spoilers. I hate spoilers almost more than I hate read receipts, so I'm not going to do that. But like. You know, when like a character dies at the end of the book that is supposed to be close to Thomas, they didn't develop that relationship enough, so it didn't mean anything. It was like, I mean, yeah, he died, and that's sad, but
to be fair, all these movies are horrible.
I like how we're just like roasting these movies.
They
just
could
like,
all
oh,
be better
God.
if they had better screenplays because they're all based on books. Like, come on.
And I think I think they just crapped all over Divergent and just made the screenplay didn't do the book justice.
Can we just like keep going on like terrible movies?
The first book in 2008, Divergent came out in 2011.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So kind of a copy and paste job. But
it was a little bit.
You say that because the last book of The Hunger Games actually came out in 2010, the year before Divergent.
The year before.
I'm not saying.
I feel like we're gonna have a lot of angry fans.
I would agree. No, most definitely. Anyway, like I would agree with Divergent. It's like we have this theme of like dystopia going around now, and it's overdone in my opinion. But like if we want to keep on going with like bad movies, Transformers is pretty good. I mean, like my original argument is definitely If I Stay because I hated it and Face Still Hates Me. But like. Let's just keep on like roasting these movies.
A Transformers,
like, Transformers
movie without Shia LaBeouf, please.
What
without
is that?
Megan Fox, please.
Mark Wahlberg.
No, I don't need that
So
in my life.
I am going to end the round, and I'm going to say that Matt won.
Oh.
Can I get my reasons just real quick?
Yeah.
Just a second.
Do it.
Well, I just think I read all of these books, and I think
Including mine?
Oh yeah.
That's why she hates me. That's why she hates me.
No, I don't hate you. But just from the screenplay not the screenplay, from the book to the movie, Divergent, it made me angry. It was good in a sense, but I think it was like underdeveloped. And a lot of your points were valid points for If I Stay, but a lot of your facts were wrong about it.
I don't care.
She picked New York at the end. It wasn't about a love story.
But it's
it was about
like-
her choosing life over death.
To me, it's all irrelevant.
I was
He
gonna
did
ask that. I
make
was
that.
like, isn't she like
She's
dead
done.
or
It
something?
wasn't
Like-
suicide. She was just trying to figure out if she wanted to. What was the best movie of 2014? And we're going to start off with Kevin.
All right.
PowerPoint.
I'm gonna go back a little bit to
What?
Matthew McConaughey with Interstellar. All right. My first point is that it's an incredible story of love. This man literally travels through the galaxy to protect his family, to try and find different worlds to live on, because he knows that the Earth is doomed. Like, everyone's going to die. And unfortunately, it's a lie, but he's willing to literally do anything at all. Going through a wormhole and going to planets orbiting a black hole to save his family. If that isn't love, I don't know what is. And there was a quote from the movie. It was, love is the only thing that withstands time and space. And, I mean, that truly resonates within me. I thought it was pretty amazing. All right, another point that I have is the science is pretty accurate in that movie. If you disregard going into the black hole and the whole time warp thing, the science is pretty accurate. Like, the way the wormhole is drawn out and artistically shown, it's from like several scientists. They say that like it would actually look like that, as well as the black hole, and with the tidal waves going up and down. Spoiler alert! Like everything in that movie is scientifically accurate, other than the last several minutes of like entering the black hole. Simply because like we don't know what happens inside of a black hole, so you can't really judge that, in my opinion. Another point I have is Matthew McConaughey, because he's amazing. Another point, it is important for the human race, and this one's a pretty big one for me, because the story takes place on an Earth that is completely, it's doomed. Like there's no place to go. There is no answer, and so I think it's important for the human race to watch this movie and realize like this is our future. If we continue down on the path that we're going, this is an Earth that we're going to eventually see. Like, while this may be Hollywood, this is going to be reality if we don't do something about it. And my final point, Hans Zimmer, amazing music. I believe he did Batman, and, I mean, he did amazing music there. Hans Zimmer just proves time and time again to have an amazing soundtrack. And so that's my best film. That's my best film.
Is a god.
He is a god.
Who's next?
You are next.
Since I have the most written about it, I'm gonna go with my best film of the year, which is Boyhood. It had a 99% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes and a perfect score on Metacritic, which neither Birdman nor Interstellar had. It took 12 years to make, and from a technical aspect, 12 years to make, that is a lot of work, a lot of time, and I mean, no other film has done that, except for maybe some documentaries, but even then, I don't think they haven't even been 12 years. You have the directors, Richard Linklater, Patricia Arquette, Ethan Hawke, which both Patricia Arquette and Ethan Hawke had nominees for Oscars, and it tells a story about growing up as a boy and as a young man, and although you may not agree with like the decisions that he made later down in life, the point about it is about the subtleties of humans and how the subtle moments make us who we are, and how growing up in this distorted family and what was trying to find right and wrong how Mason, the young man that grows up, becomes who he is after these big climactic events in his life that should break him, but it doesn't. It's about the subtle moments of who he becomes and how he transforms into that person. Although Birdman is a great movie, and I think it will also stand the test of time. I think also Boyhood, you will look at that at film school, and kids will definitely be looking on how to craft a film over time and how to see things. We've never actually seen a film like this, and I think it was awesome. Honestly, Birdman was a great movie, but I think it was a big snub to take this away from Boyhood. And the script itself was also a really good script, and it worked really well for how long the time passed. And it's still relevant, and it speaks to how the culture back then can still affect us now as we grow older. Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, as Matt has so politely already hinted at, the best movie 2014 was Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, starring Michael Keaton, Edward Norton, Emma Stone, Naomi Watts, etc., directed by Alejandro González Iñárritu. It tells the story of Regan Thompson, a washed-up actor struggling to direct and star in his own adaptation of a Raymond Carver story. While doing this, he also struggles with his own grasp on reality and a part of himself that is represented by Birdman that he can't seem to shake. And it's a great film because it tells an excellent story that makes the viewer ask questions. I love things that make me ask my own questions. And as you're watching it, you can't really, you have to ask yourself questions not only while you're watching the movie, but after you get done with it. You're like, what was that? What did I see? What do I think? And it's Regan's struggle with what's real and what's not, and your struggle with what's real and what's not in the film. You have to ask those questions. And rightfully so, it won a Best Original Screenplay Oscar. And let's see what else I have here. It has an all-star cast, as was already said by Matt. Michael Keaton was amazing. He was nominated for numerous awards, including an Academy Award, a BAFTA, an AACTA. He won a Critics' Choice Award and Golden Globe. Actually, 2 Critics' Choice Awards, excuse me. Emma Stone was also nominated for a lot of awards, as was Edward Norton, who, in my opinion, was the unsung hero of the film. He does an amazing job. He was the best supporting actor, in my opinion. I mean, J.K. Simmons was great in Whiplash, but Edward Norton was amazing. Mike Shiner's by far my favorite character.
Amazing.
The film itself won 181 awards and garnered 146 nominations. It really is. It's in your face. The characters live in the set, and they live, the actors live in that set. They make it a real world that you can look at and you never question. The only thing you're questioning is, like I said, what's real and what's not? What's really going on here? What are the underlying tones that we're looking at? And they have a good handle of their lines and their monologues, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Regan's sanity it's amazing. It's a beautiful thing to explore with him as he goes on this journey with who am I, and I'm not here, I don't exist. Or Birdman, who represents this self-loathing part of him that goes from you're lame, Regan, to you're a god, Regan. It's just, it's hard for me to put into words how much I love that film and how great it is. And it actually won 4 Oscars for Best Directing, Best Cinematography, Best Picture, and Best Original Screenplay. I was very happy that night. I think that it deserved all of the Oscars that it won. I personally did not see Boyhood, so I can't say anything about it because I'm not like that. I'm not going to down-talk a movie I haven't seen. But Birdman was the best. The actors were great, and the story was great, and I think that's what makes a really good film.
Although I think that the story is great, and that's a great screenplay, I definitely think that Boyhood got snubbed for Best Director. I mean, to have that vision to set out for 12 years and film a film, and to go not just 12 years, but to have the same actors and the same vision and the same director, and how these subtleties make the person that he is. People will be talking about this for a long time, and I know I said that already, but although it is Boyhood and Birdman, I feel, are 2 sides of the coin. Birdman is that really, really artsy film that talks about what it is to be famous and stuff like that. And are you an actor or are you a celebrity? I think that's a big thing. That's one of the main key things for Tom Riggins. In Birdman. But as I think Boyhood is the more ones that we will relate to, and the ones that talk about how in human life who we are and how much we can differ, and how things in families can break and they can mold and they can shape you into who you are, and how a Mason doesn't want to be this person that he's seen his dad become. And it's a great piece of film that just shows you a character-driven piece with some awesome cast. I would say that you could put them up to Birdman's cast also, and really just set out and made this vision happen.
Okay, so I'm in the round, and My decision is again Chelsea with Birdman. I think that
Chelsea
she
won?
oh no, I think just factually, Birdman holds up for itself. So
I mean, you can't argue with 181 awards. It's just.
But that has been our show. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Did you agree with any of us, or did you just disagree with all of us? Leave us a comment. Also, Chelsea just wiped the floor with us. So
That's true.
I came to play.
Came to play.
She did.
And she will be back on the next panel, which is about books. So get ready to watch that, guys. Thank you.
Also, on the next episode, we're going to showcase a musical band. What is their name?
King and Nation.
King and Nations. So get ready for that. That'll be really cool. Thanks
Thanks
everyone.
for watching.
Thanks. Yes. We were hoping you would wipe the floor with us.
Yeah, we really wanted you to win.
Well,
I didn't try. JK, I really
You
did.
did.
Hey, turn off your mic. Turn off the.